Hello, Mzansi, the trio with the most sauce just rolled up on your screen, and we're about to serve you the realest lituation. You are watching TredningSA right here on S3. I'm, of course, Leslie Odom Jr, and I have my gang in the studio to help me run tonight's show. He's the beneficiary of the White Spiritual Fund, and many know him as Mo Flizzle, Mo Flavor.
I know the account number. I've got it. You know all those trillions and gazillions? I've got the account number.
Okay, I definitely need
if
colleague.
the country needs the money, they must come to me, not Tokyo Sekhwali. No.
I need colleague allowance. Anyway, we have on the far left of the table a talented singer, MC, and the people's favorite emperor of Umlazi, Mable.
Sanibonani. Awu ninjani? Ngiyabingelela.
On that note, it's time for Top Trends.
Look, the bottom line is she's a hitmaker, a TV personality, of course, a business powerhouse, and she is also a year older today. Happy birthday to Boity! Oh yeah, baby! TredningSA wishes you many more years, and we're hoping that you will keep cementing your position in the media and the business world, taking up space, etc. I just want to say, I had a dream about Boity about a week ago.
Ooh.
Right?
Aren't you married?
I'm also like...
No, but let me finish the story.
Sorry, Mrs. Flavor.
Now I can't stop looking at that. Anyway.
But
Boy!
So,
Mrs. Flavor's watching.
What I did was I sent her a DM. I said, Boity, I had a dream about you. Right? Because that's the thing. When you dream about somebody, tell them. Just in case it means something. And we'll all know
what
that
was
Boity...
the dream about?
No, it wasn't a saucy dream, to be quite honest. And I did make that clear. But the thing about it is you need to tell people when you dream about them. And we know that Boity is a black spiritual girl. Okay. You understand? Okay. So she'll understand.
I mean, I just want to say
what
to you,
Boity,
Mina, I'm one of your first friends here in Joburg, and then you launch a cider,
I can't
and you don't
believe
bring anything in my house.
This is literally so much name dropping.
Boity.
We also have a birthday at Trending, Leola. Happy birthday, Miss
Happy
Makeup
birthday.
Queen. Right, now we can start the show.
Guys, today also marks 3 years since the untimely passing of our friend and media personality, Akhumzi Jezile. He moved many people, contributed immensely to the industry, and he lives on in our hearts and memories. TredningSA sends love and light to his family, friends, and fans. I actually can't believe I actually read that without crying. But yeah, I'm healing. 3
years on.
Yeah, 3 years on.
And the thing is, I mean, Akhumzi is just one of those people that I've watched grow while I was growing in the industry as well. And I remember sitting in an audition for another TV show, and he was there auditioning me. I'm like, dog, since when are you auditioning me? But you know what a champ, man. What a champ.
I was there by his graveside today just to lay flowers, and yeah, we miss you. And it's one of those things that are just it doesn't get better. You know, time heals all wounds, but yeah, we're still struggling.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, the gloves are off, and we might have a David versus Goliath fight on our hands following African Christian Democratic Party, the ACDP, challenging the DA's new proposed gender identity and sexual orientation guidelines for public schools. I can't believe I actually agree with the DA on this one. But check this out. The ACDP says the DA is planning to actively mislead and confuse kids in the WC with their draft regulations on gender identity and gender orientation. Biological sex is binary, male and female. Sex confirms the Bible. Oh, gosh. Always has and always will. Stand with us and reject the DA.
Okay, so, I mean, there's only one way to get an understanding of what's going on here. And, well, I think the stance is pretty clear. But just to have a conversation around the proposed gender identity and sexual orientation guidelines at public schools, we're joined on the line by a member of Parliament in the Western Cape Provincial Legislature and ACDP Provincial Leader, Ferlon Christian. Good afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity.
Christian, I'm one of those people that actually believe that your statement is centered around problematic beliefs. I think that it's scientifically archaic ideology, and it is based on limited understanding of gender identity and sexual orientation. What do you say to people like me across the country? And we believe in that, and there's a lot of us.
Yeah, the important thing for us as the ACDP, we believe that God created male and female. That's clear in the Bible. That is the basis that our party is built on biblical principles. So we have a biological sex that's binary, as said, male and female. So there is a male and a female, and That is what we are saying. We should not confuse the two. We
Ferlon?
get... Yes?
Sorry to but Ferlon, are you aware that we do not live in a secular state?
Yeah, and also, my goodness.
You must remember, I represent the African Christian Democratic Party, and we believe it's totally confusing our learners by introducing this policy. This policy is not good for our children, and the policy, of course, you can see, it's a policy introduced at all public schools, and it's a policy forced upon our learners, and we think that is totally unacceptable.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to go to a statement here that you had put out very quickly, and this is what you say. And this was in an interview, by the way. To guide pupils who were challenged by their sexual identity would rob parents of the privilege of counseling their own children at home. I mean, this is a very problematic statement, Ferlon, because to me it sounds like you're saying that a school shouldn't be a space where people can express themselves and be who they are freely.
Remember what you are saying. The policy indicates that a principal can send a learner to a psychologist. We say that is absolutely wrong because the parent, the Bible is very clear to say that parents' responsibility is to bring up their children in the ways of God. So that responsibility is not with the school. The policy, if you read it, says the principal has that responsibility. That responsibility lies.
But now, what are we rectifying here, Ferlon? Because it sounds like it's about what are we rectifying here?
Yeah.
What are we rectifying?
What I'm saying is that this policy, and like I said, principals should not be the person to refer the child. That child, the parent should sit with it. That's the responsibility of the parent to sit with that child and to work through counseling and to work through with that child. That is my responsibility as a parent, and it's a parent's responsibility.
Okay.
That responsibility cannot be taken away.
So I just wanted to say, first of all, the whole country is not Christian, so I think also going on Bible terms is a bit small-minded. But I wanted to ask, now you've seen the homophobic and transphobic murders in South Africa that have taken place recently. Do you not think that your statements are super problematic and can lead to more violence against the queer community?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Let me just answer this. You said small-minded.
Yeah.
If you look at this country, 80% is Christian. So
No, that's not true,
small-minded.
That's not true, Ferlon. That's not true.
On behalf of most of Christians. Don't interject when I speak. I'm giving you opportunity. Give me opportunity when I speak. So most of South Africans, if you talk about the LGBT community, is in the minority.
That is not true, Ferlon. The thing is, we can't give you space. No, Ferlon, we can't. Ferlon, we're on national TV.
Okay.
We cannot give you a space to actually give this information that's factually incorrect. So, Ed, a lot of things that you are saying right now are actually factually incorrect and problematic. And on this show, we cannot take a partial stance.
Of Christians is in South Africa. 80% as identified.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a interesting conversation. That's all I can say. Anyway, let's move.
Guys, I mean, this is extremely tiring. I mean, Ferlon, we thank you for your time, but I mean, for heaven's sake, where do we get to the point where we can even begin to say, well, the LGBTQI community is the minority? How exactly do you know that?
First of all, exactly, you don't have the
exactly do you know?
stats for that, and he mentioned so many things that he actually doesn't have stats for, and I'm trying right now so much to actually remain professional, because what he's doing and what that party is doing in South Africa is very unfortunate, and there are people that are actually dying. So, yeah.
I also don't think that a country that is not 80% Christian, because first of all, please, needs to be run policies from schools, policy at work, based on the Bible, because that's only one religion. But let's move on.
Is it really an Oscar party if we don't have some sort of racial debacle in the works? A member of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association made quite a doozy when she mistook British actor Daniel Kaluuya for American actor Leslie Odom Jr. How does that even happen, you ask? Well, take a look.
I've been following you since the beginning of your career, and I was wondering what it meant for you to be directed by Regina, what this means for you at this time with the world and the state that it's in.
Say that question again, please.
I was wondering what it meant for you to win with the world in the state that it's in at the moment.
Guys, how the hell does this happen?
I mean, for me, first of all, it's obviously purely racist. I don't care what he says. What her name is Margaret Gardner. She actually happens to be South African, and she was the first Miss Apartheid in 1978, or Miss South Africa, but no black people were included. And I think that you can't, we've had situations where black people have been mistaken for other black people. I'm so tired of black people having to be gracious all the time. Like, you could see Daniel was so upset, but he had to just move through and take it, because if he didn't, he becomes the aggressive black guy against the white woman. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, for me, it's the pain of seeing him just defeated.
Yeah.
I mean, he even gives her an opportunity to ask that question again, right? He even looks away. The body language says for me, you know, it says it all for me, that this is something that he's gone through before in many different ways, in many different contexts, and that it's been happening to him back home in the UK and pretty much everywhere else in the world. I've interviewed Daniel Kaluuya on my radio show, and the issue of racism, even in his own community, in his upbringing, is something that is very close to his heart. So he probably felt, you know, why should I waste my time dealing with something like this when I know that everywhere in the world I go, this is what we're going to be going through. It's painful to see that kind of defeat in his face.
Okay, please do not hit me. Do not hit me, no violence.
It depends on what you say.
What if, because clearly what Margaret did there, Margaret mistook Daniel for Leslie. So what if it's just a case of Margaret not being prepared and professional?
When have you ever seen that done to white actors, first of all? It's even happened to Samuel L. Jackson, and who was mistaken for Lawrence Fishburne in a completely different interview. This thing only happens to black people, please.
It's crazy. And you know, Matt Damon, right? As well as Mark Wahlberg. People always consider them friends, but nobody has ever mistook the one for the other.
This thing of you people look alike is very, very transparent. I'm sorry, my black.
Guys, we have more trends coming your way, and our friend and independent political analyst Mighti Jamie is going to give us the fourth perspective on the trending story of the day. Hashtag President Cyril Ramaphosa at the state capture inquiry. See you in a bit.
Welcome back to Star on 3. President Ramaphosa dominated the timeline for most parts of the day following his much-awaited appearance at the state and capture inquiry. His testimony at the Zondo Commission left much to be desired, and it read like a PR answer, truthfully. However, tweets took to their timeline to share frustration over the president's lackluster testimony.
For example, Tepo Mutsiwa shared her frustration with this. At the level the hashtag state capture inquiry is going, I don't think we will ever hear anything about Bosasa, and our president Cyril Ramaphosa and his ANC crooks were rewarded with 500 million rand. Another comment from Sizwe Mpofu Welsh says President Ramaphosa says the ANC has started a process of renewal since the Nasrec conference. He fails to even acknowledge that the same ANC conference is marred in controversy surrounding candidates' funding, including his own massive presidential campaign. Hashtag state capture inquiry.
And to give us the fourth perspective on President Cyril Ramaphosa's testimony at the Zondo Commission is a friend of the show, independent political analyst and social commentator, Mighti Jamie. Welcome to the show.
It's good to be on the show. Good evening to the viewers.
Yes, Jamie, what did you think of today's testimony?
Well, it sounded a lot like a history lesson, you know, in terms of the nature of corruption, the nature of state capture, but it didn't seem like it was getting very close to the details. And to be quite honest, the president wanted to sell a narrative that, you know, everything is fine after Nasrec. But the things that are being considered here are things that happened between that period wherein he occupied critical positions. You know, he was vice president of the ANC, then he became the president. And in those positions, he occupied the position of being ANC political committee head and head of the deployment committee. And the way he was talking about it at certain points, it seemed as if he just wanted the public to know that from 2017, everything became okay. But that didn't really address the concerns that people have about what happened before 2017, even if we assume that things were fixed after 2017. So that was a real concern that stayed on throughout the whole proceeding. And then, he, at some point in the discussion around cadre deployment, didn't want to take responsibility because at the beginning he was saying, look, we were just recommending. And then later on he was saying, but it's actually the ministers. The ministers are the ones who come to the deployment committee with names and then they motivate for those names. And he was trying to actually reduce the agency and culpability of the deployment committee and the ANC and almost to pass the buck back to the ministers. And that's not really what people were looking for in that testimony.
So, Jamie, it felt to me when I was watching it like he was acting more like a witness who just happened to see these things happen around him rather than perhaps an active player in the game because he's, deputy president and then president. You can't see these things happen just around you. But what do you think his contribution will be to the inquiry going forward? And what do you think people want from him?
Well, the people want specifics. You're right that it felt like, he also read about it in the news, just like us, and he wasn't in those meetings and he wasn't chair of the critical positions. So I think people are going to want more specific answers. They're going to want to know, how was Des Van Rooyen deployed? How was this problematic person deployed? What were your responsibilities, objections, and processes? Because you were sitting in the panels that were making those particular decisions. But more importantly, I think people want to know about Cyril Ramaphosa himself. Because the appearing in your capacity as president and in your capacity as ANC president limits the scope of examination of yourself, because other people have come to that particular body and said, this guy, when he was at Glencore, did 1, 2, 3, and after that he did 1, 2, 3, and he may need to respond in his personal capacity. The good thing about the president is that he pays attention to social media discussions, and maybe at a later stage he will appear as himself, as just a citizen, to explain what he may or may not have done, as has been alleged by others. That will really lead to real solid conclusions in the public eye.
Well, we got about 3 days left with him, so let's see what happens in that case, Jamie. So we're going to move along swiftly to the people who are also kind of at the heart of the state capture inquiry. I mean, hashtag Gupta has popped up on the timeline. This is after the UK announced that it would be imposing sanctions on the Gupta brothers as well as their businesses and their business associates. I mean, they've been barred from entering the UK. Their assets have been frozen. They've been prevented from moving money around in banks. Similar actions are being imposed, of course, in the likes of America as far back as 2019, which is quite recent.
The brothers are at the center of the state capture inquiry into corruption, fraud and money laundering that has crippled the South African government. The UK imposed the sanctions on a group of 22 people, which includes the brothers who have been involved in serious crimes across the world. Speaking to SABC News today, this is what the member of British Parliament, Lord Peter Hain, had to say about this.
So it's going to be much more difficult for them to operate in their criminal ways as they've done. But I think also what needs to happen now is pressure needs to be put on Dubai and Hong Kong in particular, which have been the main routes using these banks for their money laundering, to take action against them too.
Jamie, it seems the Guptas are just giving everybody problems across the globe. What is your reaction to this particular move by the UK?
Well, I think it's a good move by the UK because the Guptas have been evading responsibilities by moving, from all of these financial havens. And I think really, the net is tightening very fast on them. And if they haven't withdrawn and have cash in hand, they're really going to be in a lot of trouble, because once the UK shuts you down and America shuts you down, it's only a matter of time before Hong Kong shuts you down, and then really it's game over. It looks like we're really getting to that point where they won't be able to just hide in certain places with the buckets of money that they benefited from South Africa. Really what they did, and I think we can all agree on that, was very uncouth, and they did participate in manners of, extricating money from the state which were not justifiable and possibly criminal. And this is good, I think, for accountability, because it sends a message to everyone else that you can still in one country, but don't think that the way the global finance system works now, you'll be able to run away to another part of the world.
It's just, these type of stories always leave me confused. We see this in the world all the time, where all the people that are colonizers and have done things around the world, heinous crimes, rape, pillage, they then turn around and they become the prefects. They're the ones now actually looking after people, saying that who's corrupt and who's not corrupt. It's just, for me, it's like you're sitting on stolen gold in your vault, and the Queen's crown, the biggest diamond there, is stolen in Kimberley. And yet, yeah, but anyway.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Jamie, and we love your opinions as always.
It was a pleasure.
Okay, cool. So anyway, we have more trends coming your way after the break. Stay tuned.
Mama, I do it for my best friend Khala. To the bullshit really sala. I cannot stress no drama. I can only long take tada.
Well, listen, we learn every day as far as the moves are concerned. I've got to say, though, today's show has been quite a ride. But you know what? That's what it's all about. And I guess that's the big thing about us with Sound 3. You know, we're not shy to dive in and tackle the issues.
There was something I wanted to say at the beginning during that interview. I want to say that I am a Christian, and I speak for a lot of Christians when I say that the ACDP does not represent me.
See what I mean? And of course, you can tweet us, #Sound3, and let us know what you think about some of the issues, including that one that we've covered on the show today. All right, it's time for some inspiration. It is time to go further together with Vodacom.
With technology and humanity, we can go further together. Vodacom.
Our friends at Vodacom are committed to the purpose of connecting everyone for a better future. As technology advances, our society evolves, and so does our reason for being. Vodacom believes that technology is nothing without humanity, and when we use tech for good, we go further together.
I have some questions. Some big questions. Can we hate less and share more love? Can we keep going until we cure every disease? Can we make sure nobody is left behind? Can we find the courage to go further than we have gone? Can we change our ways before it's too late? Can we push our limits beyond the sky? With technology and humanity, we can go further together. Vodacom.
Vodacom's Further Together campaign captures our relentless spirit to progress, break boundaries, and inspire change. So get ready to take up the call to hope, to believe, to act, and to go further together with South Africa's leading network.
Absolutely. I mean, from connecting small businesses for a better future to connecting technology to health, together with utilizing technology to tackle gender-based violence and assisting those who are in need. Go further with eSchool, their free education platform. Vodacom is helping you create a better future for humanity.
All right, so that is where we're going to leave it tonight. If you still can't get enough of us, you can visit our social media platforms to get exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, fun and light-hearted bite-sized content, and many more. Mabler, have you taken a breath and calmed down? I mean, I haven't, honestly.
I'm not. I mean, I'm still going to Twitter after this.
Oh, baby.
And that's it. See you there.
See you there, Mom.
Because half an hour ain't enough.
No, it's not enough.
All right.
All right, have yourself a glorious evening. We'll be back again
He
tomorrow.
took my line. Why are you taking
What's
my
my
line?
name, baby?
Let's do it again tomorrow.